Ciao a tutti, this is Ermy Pedata from thelanguagerus.com, and thank you for tuning in this presentation for the Polyglot Conference 2020. Today I am speaking to you in my second language, English. As I am Italian, I am from the south of Italy, specifically from a small town near Naples called Sant'Antimo. It's about 20 minutes from Naples when there is not too much traffic, but that doesn't happen often. Since 2008, I've been living in the UK and also Italy, between the two countries, mostly for study reason and work reason. And one of the questions I get asked the most is this: Ermy, why are you living in the UK? Don't you like Italy? Delicious food, stunning landscape, Italian people are so funny and easygoing. Why don't you live there? And yes, I cannot deny it. Italy is a beautiful country. At the same time, I believe that living in the UK has actually strengthened my bond with my home country and has made me appreciate it even more. In fact, since I started living in the UK, I came to appreciate more the Italian attitude towards life, the love for food, the language, which is my language, and also the importance that they give to their traditions and to family. Well, I'd like to bring you on a journey today where I'll explore my favorite British things and also my favorite Italian slash Neapolitan things, and I'll show you what I love the most about these two countries and how I managed to get the best out of both of these worlds. First of all, though, confession time. I have to admit that there are some things that still shocks me today about the UK. First of all, it's the amount of rainy day that we can get in a row. And then there's also the fact that they can drink a cup of hot tea whilst eating a sandwich. This is so far from what an Italian would do. And you know what? When I'm on the street, sometimes I see people walking around with wet hair. I'm like, wow, how can they not get cold? Because surely if I would be walking around with wet hair, I would definitely get cold. But then I just came to explain this to myself, saying maybe it's just my Italian immune system. And then there is the worst one. People eating pizza with pineapple think that it's Italian, like my friend James. I still don't know why we're friends. Anyway, I'm from Naples. It's the city where the pizza is born, so I can just not accept that. Anyway, nowadays I live in the lovely city of Chester in England, just at the border with Wales. Why Chester? Well, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, after having lived in a variety of British cities from Cambridge, Bristol, Norwich, Coventry, I just realized that people in the north of England are the most friendly, in my opinion. And also because in Chester I could find a little bit of Italy too. Let me explain. The Romans, people from ancient Rome, they stayed for a while in Chester. This is why the whole city is surrounded by Roman walls, which you can still see nowadays. And whilst walking on the Roman walls, you may be able to see this pretty British city with its black and white houses, cute little alleys, the cathedral, and also the Roman gardens and the Roman amphitheater. Cistrian, which is the name of the people that live in Chester, or they are from Chester, seem to be very proud of their Roman heritage. And in general, I believe that British value very much their history and cultural heritage, which is one of the first things that I really appreciate about these people. You see, Italy is a country which is also full of history, full of art, full of culture. But at the same time, I believe that Italian takes this heritage too much for granted, and sometimes we don't seem to notice that much. British people, on the other hand, seem to value a lot their culture, their history, and art. For example, I was thrilled when I found out that art galleries and museums were free in the UK. I love art and visiting museums, so for me it was great because visiting art galleries and museum was made much more accessible for me, and it is something that I could do much more here than in Italy, despite having so many museum in Italy, much more than in the UK. In the UK, I could do more of one of my favorite activity, which is to visit art galleries and also having a break with a warm cup of tea and a scone. It may sound cliche, but I do love British tea. I just love it. Believe it or not, I've never been a coffee person. Despite being Italian, I don't like espresso. I never drink coffee. And maybe I was British in another life. Another thing that I very much appreciate about Chester is that it's a multicultural city. And for me, living in a city where there are so many nationalities is just the best. Chester is at the border with Wales, which means that here some people speak both Welsh and English. And in a way, this brings me back to my hometown. It reminds me of my hometown because in Sant'Antimo, as well as in Naples, we don't not only speak Italian, but we also speak Neapolitan. However, unlike Chester, where I used to live, it was not much multicultural. And for me, multiculturality is something that has always been fascinating to me, also because I love languages and I love to practice my languages. And this is why, for me, living in a city like Chester, where there are so many nationalities, it's ideal. So I can practice all my languages. As a matter of fact, I learned to speak fluent Spanish being here in Chester because the Spanish community is quite big, and I got to meet so many Spanish people and made Spanish friends, and that's how I could improve my Spanish and speaking fluently despite not living for a long time in Spain. Encontré muchos de mis amigos españoles a clase de baile, porque a mí me gusta bailar y sobre todo me gusta la música latina. Una manera para mí también para mejorar mi español ha sido cantar canciones como, no sé si conoces la música latina, pero cosas como solo quiero darte un beso y regalarte mis mañanas. Another thing that I really appreciate about the UK is that, in my opinion, it's a really, really green country. I love the English countryside, and in Chester, when you walk along the River Dee, the river that we have here, you will find yourself in Chester Meadows. Chester Meadows are like my ideal place where I can find connection with nature and just a little bit of peace and tranquility. The green and the tall trees and the smell of wet soil and the faraway quacking of ducks. These are all things that inspire me harmony and peace. And Chester Meadows are really like my ideal place when I am stressed out and I just want to get some silence and some peace. When I used to live in my hometown in Italy, if I wanted to find a quiet spot where I could actually connect with nature, I had to travel far. One of my favorite places where I could really feel the connection with nature was actually in Naples, and precisely in the area by the sea that we call Mergellina, or Lungomare di Mergellina, which means along the sea of Mergellina. And it's this long walk where you can just walk and relax and look at the sea. In fact, one of my favorite activities to do here is sitting on one of the rocks down Naples Bay and watching the blue sea in front of me for as long as I want. And hearing the sound of the waves splashing against the rocks is something that makes me really happy. And just sitting there and doing nothing, it reminds me how important it is to stop and just do nothing sometimes. I believe that this is something that has become increasingly evident for me whilst living and working in the UK. I believe that British people are really hard workers. They strive to get things done efficiently, fast, and they like having rules, plans, processes, and they follow them by the book. But you know what? Sometimes I think that they follow things too much by the book and they get too much stressed out, and sometimes they should learn how to stop as well. This is when my Italianness or my Italian side kicks in. I think that Italian compared to British are more easygoing. Sometimes we have a plan, but we don't always follow it. We may have rules, but we don't always follow them. And we may have processes, but sometimes we just prefer improvisation. And we just know when just to stop and relax. And especially in the south of Italy, this is really true. The truth is that I love the Italian attitude towards life. It's an attitude that I was kind of taking for granted before living in the UK, and that now I appreciate even more because Italians strive to work to live rather than live to work. And this is something that I love and that I will always keep in my mind in order to live a life that is satisfying. We Italian work, but we also enjoy life and we know when to stop and we stop when it's needed. We never work ourselves to the bone, and if it happens, well, we get back on track as soon as possible and just relax. Italians love enjoying life, and this is especially shown in the way we treat food. Lunch and dinner are sacred time for Italians. We never skip them, and if we have to, we hate it. Um, and when we have lunch or dinner, we don't just have a sandwich on the go. We gotta have a proper meal. And if we cannot have a three-course meal, a pizza will be okay. Of course, without pineapple. Sometimes I still get shocked when I see British people walking and eating at the same time, or eating and working at the same time, without never stopping to actually savor their food. However, I came to understand that British people have just a different lifestyle, and for them, food is just fuel. Fuel to keep them going, to keep them working. For Italians, instead, food is more like an experience, something that needs to be savored, a way to celebrate life. And honestly, I like to keep it that way. Italians' love for food is extremely evident when we celebrate things like Christmas or Easter. Our three-course meal expands and it becomes a massive multiple course meal that lasts hours and hours. I love Christmas evening meal with my family. We have always one of my favorite dish, which is spaghetti alle vongole, spaghetti with clams, and then we have all sorts of seafood, fried fish, vegetables, cheese, affettati, which are those cured meat sliced like ham or salami, and also other kind of cheese. We have dried fruit, fresh fruit, and also our traditional Christmas cakes such as pandoro and panettone. If you have never tried them, you definitely should. By the way, if you happen to visit Naples over Christmas time, you should never ever miss another one of my favorite spots in Naples, which is Spaccanapoli. Spaccanapoli is this narrow street in the historical center of Naples, which is full of presepi. What are presepi? Presepi is the plural for presepe. And a presepe is basically a Christmas crib, with Virgin Mary, St. Joseph, and little Jesus. But in Naples, we have the expanded version of the crib. In fact, we do not just have these three characters, which are the main characters, but we have a full town built around them. And if you go to Spaccanapoli in Naples, you will see this massive and also mini version of this Christmas town built around the Nativity. And you will find all sort of characters in them, which is quite fascinating, especially if you come from another country. In fact, presepe making is an art that is very traditional in Naples and it has a name. It's called arte presepiale, presepe art. I say sometimes when I'm in the UK and all the city starts to light up for Christmas, I kind of mix my Neapolitan presepe. And this is something I always looking forward to seeing every time I go home for Christmas. And obviously, I also look forward to seeing my family. You see, another thing that I feel extremely important in my culture in the south of Italy is the value of family. The value of family and family support is something that is very much felt. We are together in a family in everything we do. We stick together, we support each other no matter what. And you know that say, shared joy is a double joy and shared sorrow is half sorrow? I think this applies very much in an Italian family, especially mine. If someone has a problem, everyone tries to sort it out. If something good happens to someone, everyone shares a joyful moment. I can't deny that my family is definitely one of the things that I miss the most when I'm in the UK. But at the same time, when I've been for a while in Italy, when I am back for like 3 weeks or a month, I also miss England as well. I miss the tranquility of the countryside, the smell of tea, and the walks along the river. And then I think that I am actually lucky. I am lucky because the moment I am tired of the rain in the UK and I just need to see the sun sparkling and the beautiful Mediterranean Sea, I can go back to Naples and to my hometown at any time. I am lucky because the moment I feel tired of the scorching sun and the very little privacy I get from always being around my family in Italy, I can go back to the UK anytime and enjoy the silence of Cheshire Meadows. I am also lucky because whenever I feel tired of speaking English all day, every day, I can call my sister and have a chat in Italian and Neapolitan, which feels liberating. Alla fine, quando parlo italiano, posso usare tutti i muscoli che non uso quando parlo inglese e posso usare le mani e nessuno pensa che sia troppo o che sia strano, perché in italiano è così. Parliamo anche con le mani. I am lucky because I live in a friendly English city where I made friends for life that made me become part of their world, which I could have never got to know if I had not learned to speak their language first. I am lucky because I'm not anymore taking things for granted. I appreciate my being Italian and my Italian culture more, and at the same time, I'm able to appreciate the good of another culture. I am lucky because I can get to experience the best of both worlds at any time. This is also why I teach Italian to English speakers nowadays because I want them to experience and appreciate my Italian world, and in doing so, to appreciate the English world even better. In other words, I want them to have the opportunity to get the best of these two worlds too, just like I did. So, the question I'd like to leave you with is this: what world would you like to explore next? And what language could you learn right now to start to explore that world already? If you're thinking about it and already getting excited about it, it's a good sign and it means you should start right now. And once you start, you'll be amazed by the totality of possibilities and opportunities that will be open to you. I really wish you to experience the best of both worlds, the best of two worlds, whatever your two worlds are. And please come and share your experience with me if you like at the languagerose.com or just write to me thelanguagerose@gmail.com because I would be so excited to hear from you and from your experience. Thank you.